Hello, friends, and welcome back to Scaling Stories. Today, I've got some more highly upvoted posts from Best of Redditor updates for y'all. Like always, I'll be reading you the posts and giving you my opinions, and I'll also be working on building up my Minecraft world at the same time, so I hope you enjoy. Also, I'm currently only in Spotify's creator program, so watching on there would help me out a ton. Thank you so much for your support. Today's first story comes from the Am I the Jerk subreddit. It was posted by JacksonRider2025 on July 25th, 2025, and was titled, "Wife says I need to get over it, but I can't stop obsessing over a prank that ruined my wedding experience and left me furious. I had an amazing wedding experience that was completely ruined by a prank my wife and friends played during the garter removal. Am I the jerk for refusing to let it go? During the reception, we were doing all of the usual wedding games. Eventually, I was told it was time to do the garter removal. As everyone gathered around us in the middle of the dance floor, my wife was sitting in a chair, and my friends brought out a blindfold and told me I would be doing the garter removal blindfolded. I should have been suspicious of their grins, but I had some drinks, wasn't suspecting anything, put it on, and tried to be a good sport about it, as everyone seemed like they were having a great time, myself included. As soon as I was blindfolded, however, my wife slipped out of the chair and was replaced by one of my groomsmen. He's a friend of the family I've grown up with, but I would not say we're close. Now, I literally cannot stand him, although he's not a bad guy other than my anger at this prank. Sitting in the chair in place of my wife, my groomsman was in shorts with a garter around his thigh. My wife stood behind him and was talking to me as they walked me over to keep me fooled into thinking it was her. On their instructions, I got down on my knees and began reaching for what I thought were my wife's legs. Once I found the leg, I found the garter and began pulling it down. But at that moment, I heard my wife saying, "With your mouth! With your mouth!" So I leaned forward and grasped the garter belt in my mouth to the shrieks and applause of the crowd. With the garter in my teeth, I pulled it down his leg, and then my wife actually came around to help me get it over his shoe because it got stuck. Once I had the garter, they told me to stand up and take off my blindfold. When I did, I was smiling because I thought I'd been a good sport, and everyone was laughing so hard that it seemed like everyone was having a great time. But when I took off the blindfold, everyone burst into even louder laughter. For a moment, the entire energy of everyone at the wedding was focused on nothing besides laughing at me, and me being the sole butt of the joke. It felt awful. I was furious. I wanted to say and do a million different things, but I didn't. For some reason, I just felt that pretending it wasn't a big deal was the best defense. That showing anger would be confirming how badly I'd just been humiliated for their delight, and that would have made my humiliation all the worse. So I sucked it up, sleepwalked through the rest of the wedding while doing my best to keep a smile on my face. My wife could tell I was stunned, but she kept on going too. She definitely had no idea how badly I was taking it. Everyone was standing around us, and we couldn't talk openly about how I felt, at least not without ruining everything, and I didn't know whether I wanted to go there after all the effort and money put into the wedding. And I kept sucking it up the next day at the brunch and for most of the next week through most of our honeymoon. At some point, I told myself that my wife didn't mean to hurt me, and there was no reason to ruin her wedding memories by telling her that my experience had been ruined. But then, at the end of our honeymoon, I had had a few drinks, and I just couldn't help it. And once I started talking to her about it, I just went off. I told her it was trashy, that it hurt, if not destroyed, my trust and sense of intimacy towards her. I was harsh and got carried away. After first apologizing a bit, she got upset and left me sitting out there. I think I just kept going because I felt hurt and wanted to maybe make her feel bad as well, to be honest. Since then, it's been a difficult subject. I've told her I don't want to hear about the wedding. I don't want to write thank you notes or look at pictures. If it were tomorrow, I wouldn't make plans to celebrate our anniversary. My wife and I have a lot of strengths in our relationship, but I just can't stop thinking about this and the feeling when I took off that blindfold. I literally cannot stop my mind from replaying it over and over, and I get mad every time. And perhaps the worst part of it is that it's all recorded. We had a professional photographer shooting a video, and in the video, I see at least 4 other people recording it on their phones. Watching the video, I find myself looking at the laughing faces of family and friends in the video, and there's a part of me that I never act on that wants nothing more than to punch them all in their faces. The fact that I know that these videos are out there makes it feel like it's constantly happening to me. My wife says that she's sorry, that she thought I would take it better and laugh it off, and that I need to move on. I think maybe I am the jerk. No good is coming from obsessing over this, but I literally cannot let it go. I find myself coming up with reasons to be angry. I tell myself sometimes it was assault because I was tricked into putting my mouth on another man's leg without my consent. But I think that's just rationalizing my anger. I don't know. ScalingStories Corner. Nah, the wife is absolutely in the wrong here. I think pranks are pranks when everyone at the end of it is laughing at it, including the person being pranked. And I think this can easily be a case of know the person you're pranking. And in this case, it's OP. So being his wife, I would expect her to know if he's a person that this prank would land well or not with him. I feel like the fact that OP is so furious makes me think that she made an extreme error in calculating how OP would feel, or just wasn't thinking about how OP was going to feel from being pranked. And what's done is done, right? I'm not saying that this is divorce worthy, but I don't think it's OP's fault that he told his wife that he doesn't want to hear about the wedding or look pictures or videos of the wedding, or celebrate the day they got married, because the day in his mind and memory got ruined from that prank. And it's so messed up to ruin someone else's day like that and then tell them that they need to move on. It's beyond disrespectful. And for the family friend, I feel like the anger at the family friend might be misplaced because he might have been the person who replaced the wife in the act, but he might have been told that it was all good. And so like being a good sport about it, he just like played his role. But I also understand if OP still hates him just because he was the person who played that role regardless of whose fault it was. Now here are some of the top/relevant comments from the original post. Commenter 1 says, to put it bluntly, the reason you can't get over it is because you felt disrespected at an event that's supposed to honor you, your wife, and your union, and your wife was behind it. That's a really bad time to pull a prank, and shame on whoever thought it up and thought that was a good idea. Weddings are not there to humiliate the bride and/or groom. You need to express to your wife that you feel disrespected in your relationship. You want to feel love and respect from her, just like she wants to feel those from you, and you didn't feel either of those things when she made you feel like a joke. Commenter 2 says, you are totally allowed to be pissed off, and I totally get it. It's one of those that some would find funny and some wouldn't. The planner clearly didn't read you well enough, and neither did your wife. However, at some point, you need to move on. Being pissed off about it all the time isn't going to solve anything and could end up driving your missus away. So, what do you want to happen? She apologized, you have vented, and now? OP says, I don't know. I think this is why I get so mad about it. I don't know what can be done to take away that feeling of taking off the blindfold, seeing him instead of her, and everyone breaking out laughing at me, looking up to see her laughing at me, realizing I was the butt of the joke, and everyone had been laughing at me instead of along with me the whole time. But you're right. What do I want now? I don't know. Maybe there's nothing I want other than to forget about it. And when I think about it, part of me wants to be a good sport, and part of me gets so mad, and I can go either way. I hate it. Update 2 months, 2 weeks later. Hi everyone, this is The Wife. If you know us and what this is about, please know we're very embarrassed about this. We took it down, but it's been shared so many times. It just keeps trickling on, so I'm writing this for both of us. This is the last thing we want to say about this. My husband deeply regrets some of the language he used. He intended to write anonymously and was letting out unfiltered emotions. Abraham Lincoln said, write an angry letter and tear it up. My husband made the mistake of hitting post, assuming this was harmless venting. He regrets it. We've reached out to and are on good terms with everyone involved. Everything is fine. As regards to the wedding, I'm the only one who messed up here. Our planner gave us options. I watched the videos. I thought it was funny. I messed up. This isn't an opinion. It's a fact. I messed up because it wasn't funny to the only person who mattered to me. I want people to understand both of our perspectives, because no one here is a jerk. What my husband didn't make clear is that he was an absolute sweetheart at the wedding and afterwards. Overall, our honeymoon was amazing, and he doesn't mention at all that he only got mad at the end because I was teasing him about it. And I was only teasing him because I had no idea he was upset about it. I could tell I was needling him, but it was meant to be good-natured. Having said all of that, on my own behalf, of course, I thought he would think this was funny. He has a great sense of humor. We joke around a lot and always will. This just hit different, and sometimes that happens. I feel like an idiot taking this risk at our wedding. I didn't exactly tell him to get over it. I couldn't talk about it anymore when it was first brought up because I love my husband and was upset to hear him get angry, probably in large part because he never gets angry like that. Afterwards, we decided to wait to talk about it until we could do so calmly. At the same time, we did need him to get over it to move forward. We can't never mention our wedding or anniversary again or live with anger. To the casual eye, it looks like this is a well-received prank in 100 different videos. I thought it would go over well, and so did everyone else. I do now wonder if there are videos of this prank that didn't get posted because the husband made it clearer he didn't like it. Bottom line, this was unfortunate and completely unnecessary. But you live, you learn. We're doing great, and this has been blown way out of proportion. On the bright side, how many couples can say their weddings were covered by the New York Post? We're happily moving on. My husband said he hopes everyone gets his thank you cards. That's it. Goodbye. Scaling Stories Corner. No? For some reason, I don't buy this at all. If the original OP was just mad because his wife was teasing him, I feel like that would have been communicated way better in some way. I feel like in this post, his wife is gaslighting him or trying to make him think a certain direction or way because it was very clear in the original post that he was upset that he did something so embarrassing to another man on his wedding day and was laughed at by everyone there. He literally said he wished he could have punched them all in the face. And that doesn't read to me like a man who has a great sense of humor and handled everything well except for some supposed teasing. I feel like the wife is trying to rewrite the narrative here to make things better since it apparently blew up and was covered by the New York Post. And she said no one is the jerk here, but she absolutely was the jerk in my opinion. Now here are some of the top/relevant comments from the update post. Commenter 1 says, "You're the jerk. I don't feel a shred of remorse in this post. Lucky for you that your husband seems to have forgiven you. You may find out later down the line that he never actually forgot." Commenter 2 says, 2 words, damage control. She has been correctly identified in the New York Post as the jerk. I commented on the original post, and this was a prank that embarrassed him in front of all their family and friends. She was extremely dismissive of his feelings and further embarrassed him by trying to convince him that everyone except him thought the prank was funny and not inappropriate. He had enough self-control and common sense not to blow up the wedding reception. Where's the original OP now? They could be separated, and she is lying about him coming around to forgive her. OP, wife, says, "Actually, we're fine." Commenter 3 says, "You're the jerk. It's very telling that you've taken over the account, deleted his post, and posted your own. I hope he sees the comments warning him of all the red flags his rose-colored glasses are hiding." OP, wife, says, "Actually, he deleted it because our friends and family found it, and he didn't feel it reflected how he actually feels. He was writing angrily. We then posted this because his post has been shared so much that people were still finding it, and we felt our only option was to address it and set the record straight." OP apparently had this in her update post and then edited it out later for the "no one here is a jerk" part. I want people to understand both of our perspectives, because no one here is a jerk. I probably would not have liked it if, at our wedding, my husband had tricked me into getting down on my knees between another man's legs and taking something off his thigh with my mouth while everyone stood around laughing and filming it. I probably would have thought it tacky and possibly gross, depending on who the guy was. I will get trashed for this, but I did not think it would be the same for a guy. Okay, friends, so that concludes our first story of the day. Next up, we have a story from the Am I the Jerk subreddit. It was posted by Apart Landscape 220 on May 24th, 2026, and was titled, "Am I the jerk for not wanting to help with my niece's party?" My older sister, 29 female, and brother-in-law, 28 male, have struggled financially for basically their entire adult lives. They became parents to 3 girls really young, so I've always tried to give them grace and help where I can. Last year, my son turned 2. We had his birthday party about 2 weeks early because his actual birthday is usually too cold for outdoor stuff where we live. My husband and I invited my sister to do a combined birthday party at our house for my niece, who was turning 8 around the same time. Because money was tight for them, and because they were stressing about costs constantly, I ended up paying for basically everything for my niece's side too. Decorations, food, cake, etc. I had already rented a bounce house for my son, but upgraded it so older kids could use it too. I also promised my other 2 nieces, 11 and 10, that I'd help make their birthday special this summer because they did not have a party last year due to their parents' finances. So now their party is coming up in June. This past weekend, my nieces called me, asking if I was still helping plan it. Obviously, I said yes because I love them and would never want to disappoint them. At first, my sister wanted to do the party at a park. My nieces didn't even want that because it'll be hot, humid, or raining. I suggested renting out an arcade in my city and doing a Stranger Things themed arcade party for 3 hours. The girls were so excited about it. Then, my sister shut it down immediately because she said the 50 people she invited wouldn't want to drive 25 minutes. Here's the thing, most of these people aren't even there for the kids. Half of them don't have children, won't bring gifts, and are basically just my brother-in-law's family/friends who turn every event into drinking, smoking, loud music, and drama. My nieces didn't even want a lot of them there in the first place. Meanwhile, I offered to pay for the arcade rental, food, decorations, cake, basically everything. But my sister still refused because she wants everyone to be able to come. At that point, I told her that if the priority is hosting a giant cookout for adults instead of an actual kid's birthday party, then she can pay for it herself. Now, we're arguing about what I should still contribute financially. And honestly, I'm frustrated because they're planning to feed 50 people while barely having groceries at home. I literally had to DoorDash dinner to their family recently because they had no food. At this point, I'm considering just mailing my nieces their gifts and stepping away from the whole thing. Am I the jerk? ScalingStories Corner. Nah, OP's sister and brother-in-law are messed up. I think they care more about themselves and how they present themselves to other people than their actual kids. Because what the hell is up with them being so ungrateful and entitled? OP says she'll help cover the cost for the niece's birthday party, so instantly the sister and brother-in-law are just like, oh, okay, how many people can I invite then? And, throw myself a little party instead of my kids. I mean, after all, OP is paying for everything. You have the little girls going like, no, mommy, I don't want to have the party at the park. And the mom is probably like, shut up, Sally. You don't know what you want. Mom knows you want 50 randoms at your birthday party, eating steaks, drinking wine, and oh my God, Sally, we forgot the birthday cake. Mommy needed more White Claws to make sure everyone was accounted for. Dude, what? Wait, hold on. I forgot what we were even talking about. Okay, one second. It's sad that the niece's parents, not Sally, by the way. Sally was just a random name I made up on the spot for fun. But it's so sad that the parents seem to lack the urgency or brain cells to actually prioritize their kids. Because instead of focusing on what would make their children happy, they just see their kids as like tools and how they can exploit them to make themselves, not materialistically. They're not materialistic. What word am I looking for? They're like fake, They can't afford groceries at home, yet they want to show off to the brother-in-law's friends and family that they can throw a huge party. The exact wording to describe these people escapes me, but they're in a sense fake and all about presentation, at least in my eyes. Now, here are some of the top/relevant comments from the original post. Commenter 1 says, take your nieces out for a birthday day and let your sister have the home party she wants. Not the jerk. Commenter 2 says, what are you doing planning such a huge event on my dime when you can't even afford dinner? Not the jerk. Commenter 3 says, stop arguing. You offered a kids party as your gift to your nieces, just like the one for their 8-year-old sister. That is all you are offering, not an adult booze party. Your sister can take it or leave it. If she doesn't want the kid party at a park or arcade, she can do her own thing. Next time, I suggest you do not make promises to children. OP says, I will no longer be making promises that I intend to keep but ultimately involve another, bigger, decisive counterpart. My sister. Worst mistake of my life. My poor nieces are miserable. Commenter 4 says, how did she issue invitations while out knowing the venue? OP says, she used Facebook. Apparently, it doesn't have you put a venue in, and you can leave it blank. She posted in the event and said the location is to be determined. OP says to a deleted commenter, they are not assumptions. I have known this family very well for about 11 years now. I'm only 25. They have been around for 11 birthday parties. It is always the same outcome. Drunk, fights, drama, and my nieces get about 2 gifts from 25 people. Update 3 weeks later. So, update time, since some people were asking for one. For starters, I told my sister ahead of time that I will not be attending the party due to my brother-in-law's extremely annoying family, and I will not be helping with the costs because it is not what they want to do. Instead of attending, I sent my nieces money over Cash App 2 days after posting the original post and agreed to take them to the arcade next week for another birthday party. My sister and brother-in-law took their money and used it to buy fast food for themselves, my 3 nieces, and my brother-in-law's aunt. So, there's that. Let's cut to this past Sunday, their birthday party. It stormed the entire time, and about 45 minutes before the party ended, it got extremely humid and gross. Their decorations were destroyed. The food was rained on, and it was a mess. Just as I assumed, there were about 30 people there, and they received 2 gifts each, and around $150 each from their grandpa, my sister's father, mine and my sister's great aunt, and their aunt, my brother-in-law's sister. One niece had no friends there because of the storm, and the other had a friend show up for about 30 minutes and leave because of the rain. Barely any kids were there. My nieces are very much looking forward to going to the arcade and getting some boba. They seem so disappointed in their birthday party, and I am genuinely upset for them. I wish they would have had a better party, but I will always strive to give them the best, even if I look foolish. ScalingStories Corner. First off, really hats off to OP for being such a great aunt to her nieces. Because, wow, what trashy parents these people are. OP sends her sister money to give to her nieces, and what does she do? She spent it all on fast food for herself, the brother-in-law, and somehow the brother-in-law's aunt also coming along for a free meal? And just imagine, just think about it. These are young kids we're talking about, and girls, right? Not that that makes a big difference. I just think that usually boys eat more than girls. But anyway, do you think that the nieces are eating as much as compared to the adults at whatever fast food establishment they're at? No shot. I completely believe that the sister, brother-in-law, and brother-in-law's aunt must have ate up at least I don't know how much money OP gave them, but undoubtedly they spent so much more on themselves than the kids. And it wasn't even their money. It was the kids' birthday money. How can you do that to kids? And those are your kids. That's if your kids went out trick-or-treating at night, and at the end of the night, they bring back their haul, and you rob them 90% of their candy for themselves. Wow, these people are savages. But yeah. Anyway, it's really good that OP is a great aunt and is planning to take them to the arcade, because these kids need to wipe that park picnic party or whatever the hell that crap was from their memories ASAP. Now here are some of the top/relevant comments from the update post. Commenter 1 says, "So the nieces got nothing? Why did you give them money instead of taking them somewhere? I think it was obvious to everyone reading this what would happen to it." Commenter 2 says, "Absolutely agree. How did she send money to a 10-year-old thinking the parents wouldn't intercept it?" OP says, "They have their own cards through Cash App kids accounts. I didn't expect my sister to snatch it out." Yo, hopping in real quick, and I know I don't ever do this, but I am just in disbelief. I thought OP sent the money to her sister to give to the kids before, via Cash App. Not that the kids themselves had their own accounts and then their freaking parents stole that from them. Nah. These parents are unreal. OP says to another commenter, "We are very much still going to the arcade. I said that in the post. I sent them money because they were going to the skating rink and wanted to buy some stuff. They didn't get to go." Commenter 3 says, "I don't know if you can actually protect your sister's kids from your sister's lifetime of willful financial incompetence. Their selfishness, short-sightedness, greed, and laziness seems endless." Okay friends, so that concludes today's video. Leave a like and comment down below to let me know what you thought of it, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Take care.